In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the spark plugs and coils in this Chrysler 200 3.6 liter V6 engine. Go ahead and remove this large engine cover. You can just simply pull up on that to remove it. You need to remove this tube right here. We have a hose clamp here, one right here. This is going to loosen those up. You can use an 8mm socket or flathead. I'm going to be using a long extension throughout this process so you guys can see a little bit better. Now with those two screws loose, you kind of push this in. It's kind of an accordion. And that gives you space to pull it off up there. Get this hose out of the way. Now we have three hoses real close to each other we can get out of the way. There's this one right here. Whenever you remove these, give a little twist and pull straight up. Get this one right here, twist and pull. You have this one right here. Same thing, you can twist and pull. And then I want to put some zip ties around these and get these out of our way. Now as you can see, I took these three hoses, I got a zip tie around there. I just made kind of a loose connection, put it around this cap, and that keeps this stuff out of our way. Now we're going to remove this piece right here. So you have a wire connector right here. You just push in a little bit on this tab with your thumb. This will come right off. We'll just tuck this kind of out of the way. And then there's like a little push fastener right here that we need to remove. Here's where that little push fastener is. You can get a flat blade screwdriver under there or grab it with needle nose and pull that out, and then we can remove this. This piece also has two tabs in the back, so you want to kind of lift up and pry this way at the same time. You can use a flat blade screwdriver, use this because it's kind of a wedge as well. We're going to lift up here in the back and then go this way. Get this piece out. Right here are the two studs here and here that's holding this into place. That's why you kind of need to tip this up and out. And now we need to remove these wires right here. If I zoom in a little bit, you guys can see it a little bit better. You'll see that there's a little red tab on top of here. So on these wire harnesses, you're going to need to pull this red tab back. If it's pushed in, it means it's locked in position. So you can use a really small flat blade screwdriver and pry this back. And then you just push down. You can use your fingernail or another flathead screwdriver, and then you can remove the wire. And then these wires are also held in by a little push fastener here. And they have little kind of like squeeze clips. You can just use a flat blade screwdriver and pop these up. And then we're just going to tuck this over here out of the way. All right, next we have two nuts right here in the front. You have this one right here. There's one right here. And then there's two more over here in the back. We got one right here. And then one right here. So we're going to go ahead and remove those four next. So all these nuts are 10mm. Be careful of your oil dipstick. You can remove this if it's in your way. Make sure you don't drop these nuts down in the engine somewhere. Now we need to loosen up these brackets that we just took that nut off of. You can see the studs are still sticking through, so that's going to be a problem. So right here is the bolt holding on that bracket. So we need a 13mm socket or open end wrench. And then the other one is right here. All we need to do is loosen these up a bit so that these brackets are loose enough to come forward, so that these studs will come out of the holes. If you don't want to do it this way, you can always wedge a screwdriver or something in here and bend these brackets out, but that's not really the correct way. Ratcheting wrench, just loosen that up. Then you can loosen this bracket See, we're not even going to take it off. I just loosened it up about a 1/2 inch, and now we can get this out. Do the same thing on this side. And now you can see how this bracket here is loose. This one right here is loose. Now we can remove the 7 T20 bolts holding on the intake. So we have 2, 3, 4 kind of tucked down in there. 5, another one tucked down in there. And then 7th one's hiding right down in there. You see how it's loose, but don't think that you need to pull this out. All you have to do is have it like this. So they're basically going to stay in there. Now we're going to work our way across. The ones inside here, you may need to use the screwdriver type. It's pretty, we should be able to lift up. You're going to tilt it just a little bit because we do have those 2 studs back here in this bracket. You're not going to be able to lift it straight up. You need to tilt and kind of bring forward a little bit. You want to make sure you don't drop any sockets or nuts or anything down in here. So I use some shop rags or paper towels, or you can lay some duct tape across there. Just make sure that these holes are covered. We're ready to go ahead and remove the coils and the spark plugs. We need to remove this wire harness. You're just going to push down right here on this black tab and pull straight up. And then we have a 10mm screw, and then we're going to twist and pull to remove the coil. We got a bolt right here, 10mm socket. Move the coil, you want to pull and twist at the same time. And now it's best to use a dedicated spark plug wrench. This has a magnet inside. It also swivels. We'll go ahead and remove the spark plug. It's best to use these magnetic sockets because it won't drop your new spark plug down in the hole. All right, so these are the NGK plugs that I'm putting in. They do come pre-gapped at the factory at 044, but also double check them with your spark plug gap gauge. When you have a spark plug socket like this, go ahead and insert your spark plug, and you see how it seals right against it so it doesn't fall out. We'll go ahead and insert the spark plug and torque to 18 foot-pounds. And then here's the NGK ignition coils I'm installing. These are really high quality coils. You'll probably never have to do this again. Now before you put your coil in, you want to put just a little dab of dielectric grease on the inside of the boot. You got your dielectric grease on the inside of the boot, go ahead and install the new coil. And the NGK does come with new bolts. Make sure you install the coil with the bolt in the right direction. I like to get that bolt started by hand just to make sure you don't cross thread it. What you need to do is just make sure that that bolt is snug. Don't over tighten and crack this. Now we can reinstall the coil wire. Make sure you hear it snap into place. We'll just do the same thing for these two. All right, at this point, all 3 are done in the front. We'll go ahead and do the same thing in the back. We'll need a shorter extension for back here because there's less clearance. So for the back ones, I'm using this shorter extension. Notice it still swivels. Goes in there perfectly. Make sure you install the coil with the screw on the right side. And we're just going to snug up that 10 millimeter. And reconnect the wire. Make sure you hear it click. Now we can go ahead and remove our rags. And then we're going to install new gaskets. Now you can take a Q-tip and clean the grooves out. Don't drop the Q-tip down in the hole. Take good quality O-ring grease and massage it into your gaskets all the way around. Once you got your O-ring grease all massaged into your gaskets, go ahead and install your new gaskets. Now you want to clean off this surface really well. I like to use brake cleaner. Then we'll just go ahead, flip it over and install it. Now to install, you're going to insert those two studs there on the back side. You're going to be kind of at an angle. Then I'm just going to lower it down nice and straight. And it will pop right into place. I just kind of keep one hand on the middle. And I'm just going to start threading in the screws. I kind of just skip around. You may have to give a little bit of a jiggle. But I just turn the screws maybe about 2-3 turns. I want to make sure they are all threading into their respective holes. Now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten them up. I tighten them until I just feel a little bit of resistance. So it's probably not even 1 foot-pound. It's just till I feel resistance, and I'm going to go around each one of them and get them pretty well even. Now that all the bolts are hand tight, I'm going to go torque them all to 4 foot-pounds first. Starting with that one. I'm going to come over here to this one. Skip to this one. Back to the middle on this side. And then these two here on the passenger side are last. I'm going to tighten them to 7.9 foot-pounds. Starting with this one right here. And then we skip over to this one. So this one straight up and down right here, that's going to be number 5. Number 6. And number 7. Go ahead and put the nuts back on here and then tighten up the 2 nuts down below so that this bracket here and here is all fastened. All right, so I've got these 2 brackets here all nice and tight. Got the nut on here, nut on there. And then I tighten up that nut there. And then the one down there. And then when you come around here to the back, I put that nut there on and that one there. Now go ahead and cut the zip ties and we'll start reinstalling some of the wires. Right here. Slide that on, make sure you push that down over top of that PCV valve. And we have these 2 wires up here. Click them into place and then push the red locking tab in. Same thing with this one. Push the red locking tab in. And then we have all these little kind of pinch holders. Go ahead and slide all those into place. This hose right here, This hose right here goes in the back like that. Now we can install this part here. Just remember it kind of goes down in at an angle, and you need to have those 2 studs go back into these holes. It'll help if you lube this up a little bit, that will pop right into place. This piece is a little bit tricky, kind of a booger to get on. You got to kind of go to an angle and then lift up. If you look under here, you'll see the 2 studs sticking up, and you'll see where you can line it up. And you kind of got to push down and bring it in at the same time. And then we do have a wire right here to connect. So you want to make sure that this is slid on here all the way. And then right here, you have that push fastener to hold that in place. You can go ahead and install this air tube. And then we'll go ahead and tighten up those 2 screws. And you just want to get this snug and go about 1 turn. Same thing with this one. There's a little attachment right here for this kind of T-section of hoses. Go ahead and push that into place. Now we can install the top engine cover. Just kind of line that up and push straight down. Congratulations on doing this yourself, not having to take it to a mechanic, and you saved yourself probably $1,000. Hope you guys enjoyed this step-by-step video, and thanks for watching.